I want to welcome everyone to another edition of our training webinar series. Today, we are diving into the power of integrations using QuickBooks Online. Very excited to chat today. A lot of great stuff that we want to cover. And what I want you to do, we highly encourage you to do so. Go ahead and take a screenshot of the upcoming webinars that we have coming down for the end of April and the beginning of May. And I want to highlight the April 24th workshop. I'll be teaching another one of our Northspyre webinars, diving deep into how do we produce a world-class draw package. And so that is one of the many. I think everyone should show up to all of them because there's a ton of great information taught by a ton of smart people. And we are always excited to get that information out in front of you. And so those are the upcoming training sessions. And let's go over really who will be presenting the meeting today. My name is Joe Aquino. I am one of the real estate transformation consultants here at Northspyre. I've been within the real estate industry for about 7-8 years now, mainly on how do we get technology into the hands of our customers. So that's what I get to do on a daily basis. I absolutely love it. And joining me today is Eileen. She's the project manager overseeing a lot of our integration efforts here at Northspyre. Eileen, how are you doing on this Friday?
I'm great. Thanks, Joe. And hello, everyone. I'm Eileen. I'm the product manager of the integrations team, like Joe mentioned. I work closely with a lot of developers using a pretty large range of our accounting softwares. I'm based out of New York City. I've been here for over 2 years now. But prior to Northspyre, I worked at Deutsche Bank with some other previous work experiences in financial technology.
And besides myself and Eileen, you do have a dedicated team behind you every step of the way. You have your real estate transformation consultants, who you can see on screen right here. They are your go-to day-to-day consultant on everything Northspyre. In addition to your RETC, you also have our concierge team. This is an email, concierge@northspyre.com. It's available to everyone here on the call. And in addition to that, you also have our knowledge base, 350 articles on exactly how the technology works. And as we kind of make additions and make improvements to the technology, we add new features. You can make sure that that information will always be found in the knowledge base. So let's go through what we can expect today during our training. Well, first things first, we want to make sure we have a clear understanding on what is an integration. After which, we want to talk about how we are going to unify both the accounting side and the development side of your teams. And then we have 2 phenomenal live demos that we're going to dive into today. Syncing your invoices and vendors. How do we do so? We're going to walk through that process today. And we're even then going to walk through how we track those payments within Northspyre. So a lot of great stuff. We're going to finish it off with Q&A. If you have any great questions, we're going to hold them off to the end. So make sure if you have them, that we'll get to those at the end of our call. Let's really quick, before we dive in, just have a clear understanding of what we want to walk away from today's workshop. Number 1, we want to have a clear understanding of Northspyre's 2-way integration capabilities. How does Northspyre communicate with QuickBooks Online? We also want to help adopt a workflow to seamlessly integrate the 2 platforms. Again, we want to unify the accounting side and the development side. We want to eliminate all your duplicative work, and we want to ensure you're consistent between your invoice amounts and the payments, and want to make sure they're automatically syncing. In addition to that, we want to make sure we understand how to leverage Northspyre for any financial accounting, vendor management, and cost management. And then finally, when we walk away, how do we sync our vendors? How do we sync our budget lines, our invoices, your payments between Northspyre and QuickBooks Online? We're going to make sure we cover exactly how that's done by the end of this call. So first things first, what is an integration? You may have heard of the term before, an API, an application programming interface. That is the fancy term for essentially how 2 pieces of software communicate with each other. And so in this situation, our software integration is the process of connecting, in this case, your Northspyre account and all the projects and everything you have within Northspyre to your accounting software, in this case, QuickBooks Online. And with that, we're going to give you bi-directional integration between the 2. That is going to allow your accounting teams to quickly pay invoices and from within Northspyre, see what has been paid and what is yet to be paid, all without any manual entry. And the goal really at the end is we do not want to miss any invoices. We want to make sure that your team has full visibility into the payment status. So what invoices are outstanding? What invoices have been paid? What invoices are maybe partially paid? You'll have a clear understanding right from your Northspyre platform, which our customers absolutely love. And that will allow you to easily understand which invoices have been paid, which are still awaiting payment, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure your vendors are paid on time. You want happy vendors. We want happy vendors. That is the goal. Now, when we talk about understanding those different account statuses, we have 4 statuses that you're going to see. Eileen's going to cover this in the live demo, but only 4 that you have to worry about is the invoice paid. It says paid, means it's been paid in full. Is it partially paid? Maybe the entire invoice has not been paid. You'll see that status right there. If you come across a pending status, that means the invoice has been sent to QuickBooks Online, but it has yet to be paid. And finally, if you see that open status, it has not yet been sent into QuickBooks Online. So 4 easy statuses will tell the story on which invoices have and have not been paid. Now, talked about this a little bit, but the unification of your accounting and development side. The last thing we want the teams to have to do is coordinate which invoices have been paid, which ones haven't been paid, because that is challenging to try to track. I'm sure your teams have dealt with that, or maybe you're dealing with that now. We don't want any manual work for the accounting team to copy any of those invoices into Northspyre and then into your accounting system. We want one single source of truth, one integration that will allow you to export from Northspyre with a click of a button into QuickBooks Online. We want to cut out your manual work, and we want automatic syncing of the 2 systems. That is what we're trying to solve for here. Now, solving for all that, we're going to give you and your team a ton of time back, because think about how long it takes to find the invoice, making sure that you have the correct up-to-date, making sure it's sent over to the accounting team. I always will encourage my customers to highlight and take a screenshot of this slide, because this really walks through every step of the way in terms of getting invoices into your accounting platform. We want to give you time back. That's always the goal with us. And as you can see here, we're averaging about 54 hours per month, 652 hours per year on time we can save you with integrations. That's a lot of time you can reinvest into a lot of the other aspects within Northspyre, taking advantage of your vendor management, taking advantage of some of our new tools like your bid management. A lot of that stuff at the end of the day is going to deal with invoicing and getting that information over to QuickBooks. So investing that time back into a little bit of the other tools, some of the power tools that you have at your disposal, is really the goal here. We want to set you up for success as much as possible. Now, enough of my blabbering on. We want to show you live demos of exactly how this is going to work. So I'm going to hand it over to Eileen, who is going to be showing off how we are syncing vendors and invoices and how we're tracking those payments in Northspyre. Eileen, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. So just like Joe said, our integrations eliminate the manual, duplicative work, and any human error that you might encounter without using our integration. You can really leverage Northspyre for all of your financial accounting, vendor management, and cost management. So let's dive into a demo, and I'll show you all how this works in Northspyre. If you want to log in and follow along, I highly recommend doing so. So to start, I'll just give a quick overview of the one-time setup steps that will ensure that budget lines, cost codes, and vendor information between QuickBooks Online and Northspyre will sync accurately without requiring you to adjust anything about how those values are logged in each platform. So after this call, you can also ask your real estate transformation consultant for our reference guide with more detailed instructions. Let's begin with the budget line setup. Like I mentioned, this is a one-time setup step to ensure that your budget lines in Northspyre properly map to your accounting codes. Let's navigate to the budget categorizations page under project utilities here. I'm going to click on update cost codes. And then with a QuickBooks Online project, you should also see on this page a set QuickBooks Online codes button. After I click here, you can see that this is your management page where we map each of your Northspyre budget lines to the respective category code in QuickBooks Online, as well as optionally a customer code in the case where you have multiple QuickBooks companies used against multiple Northspyre projects. Northspyre also has a dedicated setup team that can help you set this all up for you as long as your team provides a file with the correct mappings. That could be in Excel, PDF, whatever format suits you. Once your budget lines are all set up, we ensure that all of the information is synced between the two platforms accurately so that you prevent any discrepancies between those online platforms. If any mappings change or new budget lines are added to your project, you have complete freedom to adjust those values directly from this page, and we make it pretty seamless and easy for you by populating each of these fields with a dropdown of values pulled directly from QuickBooks. Now, the second and final step for setting up your project is to sync your Northspyre vendors to your QuickBooks vendors. So again, the purpose of this mapping is to just ensure that we have that accurate mapping between the two platforms without requiring you to change anything about how you've named these vendors. So I'll navigate to my vendor management page right under that budget categorizations. And if you want to follow along, you can head there now, and you'll see on a paired QuickBooks project that we automatically pull in all of the vendors logged in QuickBooks as unapproved vendors in this right side tab here. So we want to ensure that you have complete oversight into whether or not these vendors are added to your Northspyre project. We give you the freedom to approve these vendors either by linking these vendors directly to a Northspyre vendor, by adding these vendors as a completely new vendor, or just doing nothing and leaving them here, in which case they will not have any effect on your project. And once these vendors are all linked and approved, you should see them in the left-hand tab here with a clear indication of which vendors are linked with this green checkbox here. And from here, all transactions coming into your data inbox will have that correct vendor association. Again, our dedicated setup team can assist in this setup step for you, but anytime new vendors are added in QuickBooks, we automatically pull in those vendors so that you can easily see if there's any vendors that are not linked. Now that my simple setup is complete, our integration with QuickBooks empowers you to seamlessly sync vendor, invoice, and payment information between the two platforms. So managing your invoices should become a breeze. Let's navigate now to the invoice data index under the data index section here and check out this workflow. Our recommended workflow is for invoices to originate in Northspyre so that you can use your existing workflows of approving items in the data inbox and verifying all that data before items are entered into QuickBooks and payments are finalized. We offer flexibility in the case where this workflow wouldn't work, which I will cover later on, but let me just walk you through this ideal workflow to start. After invoices are approved into your Northspyre project, you can manage them all here in your invoice data index. So just to start off with a quick overview of this page, we really want to commit to making your workflow easy and efficient. So these column options here on the left allow you to toggle on and off various columns so that it's flexible to your needs and also saved for the next time that you come onto this page. You can also use our filtering functionality where you can apply one or many filters all at once to narrow your search. And you can also use this search bar to pinpoint any specific invoices. And then finally, the grand total here at the bottom of the table is dynamic. So you can easily see the cumulative amount of a select group of invoices as various filters are set. So as you can see, I've toggled on a couple of columns that are going to help assist in my accounting integration. So for example, cost code is a column here where I can track which cost codes align to my QuickBooks system. And I also have this accounting status column here to give you complete visibility into those invoice statuses that Joe went over. Like he mentioned, open invoices have not yet been sent to QuickBooks. Pending invoices have been sent and not yet paid. And then finally, those paid invoices have obviously been sent and paid. So sending open invoices to QuickBooks takes just the click of a button. I can select whichever invoices I want to send over. I've created one for April 19th here, as you can see, with my backup documentation, amounts, and description. And once I select that invoice, which I can select multiple of, all I have to do is press Send to Accounting. Here, I just want to make sure that I've verified all of my selections before I press send. And once I get a success message, you should see that invoice pop up immediately in real time in your QuickBooks bills. I have QuickBooks open here. I'm going to navigate there now. And if I just refresh my bills page, you should see that invoice that I just sent populated at the top of my page. So let me just refresh again. And I believe the invoice is here. Let's see. All right. Here on the invoice, you should be able to see all of the correct coding information, as well as any of the backup documentation with the correct bill dates, due dates, vendor, anything associated with that invoice. I also want to cover a pretty awesome feature that comes with our integration, which is the robust error handling on Northspire's end. So before we send over your selected invoices, we make sure that there's no issues with your invoices that would prevent them from being imported into QuickBooks Online. For example, let me just select all of the invoices in my project at once. You can see that a bunch of these invoices have that paid or pending accounting status, meaning I've already sent out and paid these invoices, so I really shouldn't be able to resend them. So we prevent any of that potential human error because, as you can see, once I hit send to accounting, we prevent you from making any of those mistakes, like sending duplicate invoices. So we'll catch any and all issues, anything related to missing vendors, cost codes, etc., with pretty clear messaging so that you don't need to monitor that on your own. And when I press send, we skip over any of those invoices with flagged errors and send over anything that will hit QuickBooks successfully. Now, for those invoices that are sent into QuickBooks, you can now use your existing workflows to handle the accounts payable and send out those payments. Those payments will then automatically be synced into Northspyre, again, without any manual work. So our data index now acts as your single source of truth. It's a single hub where you can manage all of the information related to your invoice. So I'm just going to open up a paid invoice to show you. For example, so now I have this invoice where I can see all of the information related to my component breakdown, vendor description information, any of my backups. If relevant, I can also see any comments or approval workflows that this invoice has undergone. And finally, with this paid invoice, I can see that payment history where I've logged information like the check number, where I was paid, for example, QuickBooks, that amount, and the date. So with all of this information now housed in Northspyre, you have all of this info available at your fingertips across the platform, from tools like the anticipated cost report to your vendor overview to your report builder, for example. And because Northspyre is dedicated to offering you the flexibility to fit your integration workflow into your existing workflow seamlessly, another way to send invoices over to accounting is via the draw request page. So I'm going to navigate there now. From the draw request, it's easy to send invoices that align with a given draw period, with Northspyre eliminating any and all discrepancies for a given draw that you might typically encounter without our integration. Let's say that you're at the end of a draw period and you're ready to send out all of the payments in this draw in one go. From this page, I'll simply click on View All Current Invoices, where now I can see all of the invoices associated to this draw. I can also toggle for a given rec period if I want to see historical draws. And from this page, I simply have to click on the Accounting option, click on Show Integration Options, and then I can select all of my invoices to send to accounting. Again, we have that same robust error handling so that, as you saw on the invoice data index, we prevent any duplicate invoices and catch all of those errors before they hit QuickBooks Online. And using this workflow, it's easy to align your invoice payments with your draw process with minimal additional work and reconcile all invoices across the two platforms instantaneously. Like I mentioned, the ideal workflow that we recommend is to have invoices originate in Northspyre before you send them to accounting. This ensures that you can approve all of the information in Northspyre before payments are sent out and finalized. However, let's say you do have those occasional invoices that originate in QuickBooks first. That is not an issue at all, and you do not have to adjust your workflow. Any items originating in your accounting platform will be sent to your data inbox, just like any other transaction. So I'll navigate now to my data inbox, where you'll see that any of those invoices that have originated in QuickBooks will be sent as transactions with the sender, QuickBooks. And if relevant, I can have these items undergo any automated approval workflows. I could also leverage my Copilot analytics to catch any overruns proactively. And you have complete oversight into what items are being accepted into your Northspyre project, again, before they impact your project values. Like I mentioned, our goal here at Northspyre really is to just save you time and money so that you can focus on running your projects more effectively. Our integration cuts out hours of manual, duplicative work and human error. So with all of your costs and vendors now logged in Northspyre, you've also now unlocked a whole suite of features to maximize insight-driven decision-making when planning for future projects. You can now leverage historical vendor information and costs, leverage our various vendor analytics, and even use our bidding tools to constantly improve project efficiency. And we highly encourage you to start taking advantage of all that Northspyre has to offer. So reach out to your real estate transformation consultant. We'll send over all the setup instructions and we'll get your integration up and running in no time. With that, we can now open it up to any questions if anyone has any. So it looks like we have one question come in from Victoria. If we had to void a payment and reissue, will that update to Northspyre or will that payment info need to be updated manually? So yes, anytime you make new payment data or payment information in QuickBooks, we will pull in that information. How our integration works is that every single day at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we look at QuickBooks, see what's new, whether that's vendors, new payments, anything like that, and all that information should be pulled in. I think with this specific scenario, we can definitely test it out, especially with your real estate transformation consultant, so that you can see how that would look. It's probably going to be like a negative payment amount. All right, and then yeah, we can hang around for any other questions. It looks like that's the only one that's been left so far, but Joe and I will just hang around for a few seconds if any more questions come in.
Eileen, great job on showing kind of how quick and easy that was to one, integrate the two pieces of software, and then how we link those vendors, how we get the invoices over to QuickBooks Online. That was incredible. Thank you so much.
Of course. And then I also see another comment from Nick. Let's answer this question. So on your invoice data index, I had a column called accounting status, whereas his shows payment status. There could be a couple of different scenarios here. It could be that you either don't have a integration turned on yet for that project. So only those projects that have a integration turned on will show that accounting status. Otherwise, all normal projects without an integration will show payment status. Otherwise, if you're not seeing that yet and you don't have the integration turned on, again, the ability to toggle on and off various columns is in this little column options drop down here. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time today. And again, we are always available for questions. So have a great weekend, everyone.